the Find a BMP feature is something that gives you a lot of different ways to find the BMP you're looking for. And so once you're at the launch pad, I'm going to start right here at the launch pad, and we're going to click on the Find a BMP link, and this is going to take you to a screen. This is going to look a little different if you're on a mobile than if you're on an application. So this is how it might look if you're on an iPad. It's going to kind of rearrange itself a little bit. But for the purpose of giving people the biggest view possible, I'm going to go ahead and show you full screen and maybe increase the text size a little bit here. So there's a number of different ways to find. You can zoom in on the map. You can go ahead and find your BMPs that way. You could, if you know the BMP name, you can go ahead and type it in here. So I've got a lot of test BMPs in here, so test is going to bring up a lot of different BMP types, but we can go ahead and find a BMP in that way. Or if you're at a location, you're out there, you have your service enabled, you can find BMPs near me. And so right now, this is going to take me to Crown Valley Parkway, right here at the City Hall, and there's nothing around here. By the end of today, there's going to be a lot around here of test BMPs, and we'll just let you go ahead with that, and then we'll wipe them out of the system after we're done with the training. But you can also find BMPs near me, and it'll zoom to the ones that are near you. So I'm going to go ahead and transition from this into the anatomy of a BMP. So I found Test Wetland Z. I click on it, and it shows me a little icon on it. This is only going to show if you've added a picture to this BMP, but it's really helpful in the future. Yeah, this is the one I want to look at. This is the one. So from here, you have two options. You can either just view the details of that BMP, or you can begin a field visit on that BMP. Right now, I'm just going to view the details to show you what a BMP record includes. So a BMP record includes some real basics, the key things that we need to know about this BMP in order to classify who owns it, what type of BMP it is, and so on. So that's a name that you can assign. The type has to be assigned to the BMP, the owner, and the jurisdiction. Year built, an ID and a system of record. So you may assign it a name for the purpose of your jurisdiction. Maybe your jurisdiction also maintains a master storm drain network, and it has a certain ID in that that's not very human readable, but you want to relate the two. So you can relate this, this name of this basin to the ID that someone's going to find when they look in the GIS system. So that's the ID in the system of record. And then you're able to add any notes you want. This is a free-form field where you can add any notes about the system. And then you'll have a chance to associate, if it's part of a WQMP, you'll have a chance to set up a WQMP and associate this BMP with that WQMP to create that legal connection. Pictures are great, and the tool when you're in mobile on an application on an iPad or other tablet, you'll be able to click on this and it'll bring up that either use a picture from my archive or take a picture, and so you'll be able to take a picture right there and upload it to the system. Other design attributes. So this is, it goes beyond the basics, but it still is kind of necessary to characterize what are we looking at here. Does it have pretreatment? Is there harvested water use from this system, or is it just simply a wetland? Where does that harvested water go if it's being harvested? Does it achieve full trash capture, for example? And then there's a number of checkboxes for the design goals. So these is a preset fixed categories of design goals that you can select. Depending if it's just a trash screen, it's just going to have one to control trash. But if it's a wetland and it meets different requirements, then it may have multiple. It's going to have a location that can be set, and all of these fields can be edited from this view by going into them. And then it's going to have some modeling and performance attributes. So this is not something totally necessary for you to enter to define the system, but it's going to be really important for the system to be able to be credited for source of pollutant load reduction. We need to know how big it is. We need to know what kind of infiltration rates it may have underneath of it. So this may take a little bit more research. You're going to go out and look at it. You're not going to be able to eyeball how big it is. It may need to be back in the field or back in the office doing some research on the design drawings to populate a lot of these fields. So you'll be able to also see a record of all the field visits that have been performed on this BMP in this grid down here. And that's a downloadable table. So if this will grow over time and you want to just save a record of all your field visits in the last year, you can filter on any of these cells and then download the table. Funding events, just put in a couple dummy funding events here, but basically we're able to track who paid for the planning and design and then who paid for the capital construction and allocate it between, say, a city's general fund and a certain grant program. And then we have documents, so we can upload any number of documents. So this is a chance to upload the as-built drawings, to upload the O&M plan if there's an O&M plan, and so on. And then finally, benchmark and threshold values. This is basically defining what the ideal state is of the system is, and then how far away from that ideal state we would let it go before we'd start to discount its score when performing assessments. So that is the find a BMP and just the anatomy of what a BMP record looks like when it's fully populated.